continuing with the next video about the creation of a story map. What I have showing right now is something called the Social Vulnerability Index, and in this particular data set, the higher the score, or the more toward the red, the more vulnerable or not resilient the population of those of that particular census tract would be, based upon demographic and census data. Another example to add to the ones from the previous video is the portion of people who don't speak English at home is also a component of this index. People who don't speak English at home are less able to take advantage of news, pamphlets, brochures, educational opportunities, and other things that would help to educate them about the risks and ways to deal with natural disasters, much of which is probably going to be in English. Sometimes it can be found in Spanish, but rarely in other languages. So we have this Social Vulnerability Index. Again, it is a very detailed and extensive data set, which does not suit itself well to web mapping, where people are which supports and works best with simpler, more direct, more single answer oriented mapping rather than complete extensive data sets. So again, what we can do in ArcGIS is use our select by location capability and select by location, and what I've done is I've selected only those census tracts with social vulnerability index values that intersect the highest risk part of the New Madrid seismic zone. So this map also shows the extent, essentially, of the danger zone for earthquakes in the New Madrid zone, and it shows which is this extent, and the data set here includes only the census tracts that are in the high-risk area. So now what I have is a much smaller, simpler, more focused data set, which is really what's appropriate for web mapping. And by using the extract by, or the select by attribute previously, select by location here, and then doing export, which is if I right-click on any data set and say data, export data, I can create a new shapefile that includes only the selected features of a larger data set. So if I'm able to select a limited number of features from one data set and then export only the selected features, I can produce a smaller trimmed down data set, which is probably more useful and more applicable for a particular application. And that's what I've done. So what I have now, turning off the irrelevant layers, or the less relevant layers. Actually, this is the single relevant layer that I have here, which is a data set that shows the Social Vulnerability Index within the New Madrid seismic zone. And now I have some simple maps which I will be able to use to tell a nice story. These maps are, this is its own data set, the SVI within the New Madrid zone, and it is a separate shapefile. And what can be done now is an example of a previous lesson, which I called Interoperability, in which it is possible to take one data set, a single data set, in a common or useful or widely understood format and use that data in another application. And the other application I'm going to use this data set in is ArcGIS Online, which is the software that we've learned how to use already. So this is a good breaking point, and what I'll come back to is inside of ArcGIS Online, the web mapping application. Just as a reminder, if I haven't said this enough times, this is desktop GIS, which I use to view, prepare, trim data sets to get them into a very good format for web mapping. So now I'm going to break momentarily and return to ArcGIS Online